Get ready for Purpose Today with Dr. April Dobson. Ignite your spirit and fuel your passion for life with inspiring stories, empowering guests, and transformative ideas. Whether you're pursuing dreams, overcoming challenges, or seeking a spark of positivity, you're in the right place. Together, we'll explore resilience, creativity, and our limitless potential. So, sit back and prepare to be inspired. Let's unlock incredible possibilities on Purpose Today with Dr. April Dobson.
Hello, and welcome to Purpose Today. I am Dr. April Dobson, excited to be your host, and we have a power-packed episode for you on this first episode of Purpose Today. Today, we're going to talk with Ernest Huffman, and he's going to share how he loves what he does professionally and how he's impacting the greater Dallas-Fort Worth region. We'll come back and also meet with Lynn Edwards, and she's going to talk about how she knows it's time for her to pivot professionally. So we'll be right back. Join us for this Power Pack show.
Looking for inspiration, motivation, and the good news of Jesus Christ? Look no further. The Daily Gospel Network has what you need. With more than 300 ministries from all over the country broadcasting every week, you're sure to get your dose of spirit-filled encouragement from the great programs on the Daily Gospel Network. Catch the Daily Gospel Network on Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, all mobile devices, and the internet.
Hello, Ernest. Thank you so much for joining us today. How are you?
Hey, I'm living the dream. No complaints. How about yourself?
I'm great. Thank you. So thank you so much for joining us on Purpose Today. We're very excited to have you on our very first show. So could you please tell us, I know you have an inspiring story. I know you love what you do. So could you please share information with our viewers about what you do professionally?
Yeah. So first off, my name is Ernest Huffman. I work with North Central Texas Council of Governments. I'm the program manager of the Aviation Planning and Education Program area. Now, the North Central Texas Council of Governments, we're the metropolitan planning organization for the Dallas-Fort Worth region. So we do all transportation planning for the region. Think railways, tollways, highways, bike pedways, bike paths, sidewalks, anything to do with transportation in a metropolitan area, we do planning for. Under my purview is anything to do with aviation. So in our region, we got 35 plus airports. We got multiple heliports, a few vertiports, and I ensure that our system-wide planning is accommodating the future demand for the transportation in aviation. So I think we got tons of airports. Population growth is out of control here in North Texas. We're anticipating by 2050 to have 14 million people, and I'm making sure that all of those aviation facilities can facilitate and accommodate that new demand and population. Another thing I do is we do an aviation career education outreach. So I go to classrooms, community festivals, and I do outreach within the community, teaching folks, not just kids, on aviation careers. So letting them know that whatever they do in their current disciplines, if they're an adult or if they're a child and they're interested in their career path, you can do almost any discipline within the aviation industry. We got doctors, nurses. We have almost anything under the sun within the aviation umbrella. And I like to talk with kids and adults and other folks, trying to prophesize them coming to the aviation industry. Teach folks based on my experiences and some of the lessons that I learned in my career and help them come to the aviation side.
That's wonderful. So what are some of the opportunities if you have people who were looking for professional opportunities in aviation? What's the spectrum of what they could kind of anticipate?
Yeah. So I mentioned the professional pilot. Everybody knows about pilots, air traffic controllers, flight attendants, things of that nature. Well, that workforce is still growing, and we need folks. We need folks like never before, because a lot of that particular workforce is retiring out. We got a lot of old pilots, older flight attendants, older air traffic controllers who are really timing out. They have to retire really soon. So we're anticipating close to a quarter to 50% of that particular industry, that workforce, retiring out within the next 5 or so years. We need to backfill all those particular positions. So those traditional aviation careers that folks know about, plenty of opportunity there. But also on the manufacturing side, all the aircraft manufacturers, tons of aircraft being made on the traditional aircraft side and on the unmanned aircraft side. So when I mentioned those drone deliveries, when I mentioned those Jetson style aircraft, these are two new sectors within the aviation industry. Each component has their own manufacturing. Each component has their own maintenance, and all of those particular jobs will need to be filled. And there will be new jobs. So when I talk with kids who are interested in aviation, I want them to tell you, hey, think of that unmanned piece because it's new and it'll give you an opportunity to write in particular, you'll really be writing down the framework on how that industry will be going forward because that's how new that industry is. So everything we're doing on the unmanned side will set the precedent for what we'll do in the future. And if you're a child or you're a new person entering into our aviation workforce, it's just a fun, fascinating opportunity, which we haven't had anything new in aviation in more than 100 years, pretty much outside of the jet aircraft. So this is one of those opportunities. And here in North Texas, we're trying to be the center of gravity for the maintenance for the unmanned aircraft and the center of gravity for your manufacturing. So if you're looking for jobs in both of those particular places, you can come down here in North Texas and find a job. And then outside of those particular jobs, which may feel like they're technical, there's tons of other jobs, in particular on the drone delivery side, where we need pilots for those particular jobs. We need maintenance folks for those particular jobs. We need airspace specialists to carve out the airspace where these things are flying. We need unmanned traffic management folks. So think air traffic control, but for lower altitudes, because these drones are only going to be flying between 0 and 400 feet above the ground. So that aircraft monitoring won't be done by air traffic control. They don't have anything to do with it. So we'll need folks to do that, in particular on a local level. And policy, the regulatory side, the legal side, the insurance side, that's all a new business that folks can take an opportunity. In particular, I talk with my folks a lot. I go into Black and brown communities a lot with this information because it's, the barrier to entry to a lot of these opportunities is the knowledge of the opportunity. And that's what I like to provide.
And that sounds very fascinating. And it sounds like there's so many different facets of what you do. So if there are people who are interested in finding opportunities, what would they need to do to go about doing that?
Yeah, so best bet, and typically we have an aviation career website that's up and running. It got hacked not that long ago, so it's getting rebuilt. So that won't be back up until the beginning of the year. So normally I would give you that link and it has everything highlighted on there. But for folks who are interested in the unmanned aviation space, and that's the main focus, that's the main thing I educate on today, go on LinkedIn and start getting involved or just following some of those companies involved. So you got Joby Aerospace, Joby Aviation, Google Wing, you got Amazon, you got Drone Up, you got tons of these companies that are in their infancy in terms of operating. They all got job listings. All of them are hiring. All of them are hiring gangbusters. In particular on the drone delivery piece, just imagine setting up these operations in every major metropolitan area in the country and in the world. That has to be done by somebody. So I'll follow up with those particular drone delivery companies. And then please follow back with me by the end of the year. You go on our website. We got two platforms, www.northtexasuas.com. That's our unmanned aviation portal. That's where I put all the new information, all new resources. We did our Know Before You Fly Your Drone video series on there. So if you go on there, if you're a new drone pilot, we have a workshop, 24 different modules that goes through what you need to do to become a profitable pilot in the business world, how to fly legally, where to get opportunities, where to go get your Part 107 drone license, etc. And then you go from there.
That sounds great. And so what would you say is your favorite aspect of what you do?
My favorite aspect is just because I work. So just to backtrack, most metropolitan planning organizations don't have aviation planning areas. It's typically not funded because typically the funding comes from federal sources and it's typically surface transportation related. We're one of the few, and maybe there might be one other in the country that has an aviation program area. And because of that, I get the opportunity to do practically what I want in terms of new aviation related planning in the metropolitan area. Traditionally, we do the airports. That's stock and barrel for what we do. But the education piece, that's because I want to do it. If I didn't want to do it, we didn't have to. The unmanned aviation integration piece, if I didn't want to do it, we wouldn't have to. Now, because I want to do it, we're able to get a lot more of us involved in the aviation industry through the aviation career outreach. But with the unmanned aviation integration, we're going to be one of the first places on the planet to do real operations where we're moving people. So World Cup 2026, Arlington, Texas, we're going to get 9 matches for those particular games. We plan on doing operations from DFW Airport to the Arlington Entertainment District. That's where Dallas Cowboy Stadium is located, with these unmanned aircraft moving people. We'll be the first. If nobody does it in 2025, we'll be the first to officially be able to do it, to have done it on the planet in 2026. In my previous job as a consultant, we wouldn't be able to do this kind of groundbreaking work that I'm able to do on the government level. And it's allowing me to compete with the world. I didn't mention this earlier. I'm not from the Texas area. I'm from New York, but we're able here now to compete against the Chinas, the Japans, the Europes, with the work we're doing here in North Texas. And it doesn't get no better than that.
That's exciting. That's very exciting. So what advice would you give to anyone who is seeking to look for opportunities in your industry?
So first off, there's nothing to it but to do it. So a lot of people who I meet, they were interested in the aviation industry, and they're always stuck in this fact-finding place where they're figuring out how to do it, going on the internet, doing a lot of research without making moves. So when I tell people, the first thing is to do your first step. If you need to get education, formal education, you go get that. If you need a certification, you go get that. But the thing is to start somewhere, and also build your network. The more people you know in the industry, and the easiest tool to do that now is LinkedIn, something that I didn't have coming up in the ranks. And I'm glad that that's there, because now you can find anybody doing any job on the planet that you're interested in. So if you're interested in the aviation related job or any job on the planet, you can go on LinkedIn, find people proficient in or masters at that particular craft. You can reach out to them, ask them questions, gain mentorship, or even if you never want to talk to them, you can go through their biographical information, go through their resumes, and you can see the steps they took to get there. And you can copy those. It's just as simple as that. So if you need a starting point, and I tell kids this every day. We just did interviews with some kids on an outreach event last week on this networking piece. Go on LinkedIn. If you want to be a doctor, find some doctors on LinkedIn in that specific specialty you're interested in. Chart their path. Find local ones. You don't need a phone book now. You can go hit them up and you go meet with them, have lunch, reach out. And those probably will be the first people to get you your first job. So
great. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I hope that everyone who's viewing this, that you were taking notes, and if you weren't, hopefully you can go back and watch this again so that you can use all of those great pieces of advice that Ernest just shared. So what about anything else? Is there anything else that you want to share with our viewers that you haven't spoken about yet?
Yeah, so what I like to, because I talk to our folk a lot about these technologies, and what they seem to think there are barriers to entry to Black and brown folks with these more unknown careers, I'd say, because they sound technical, but a lot of them you learn on the job. And what I would say, there aren't any barriers to entry. And what you'll find out, and what I found, in particular on the government level, there's so many of us at the top, middle, and bottom of these industries. It's hard to get lost. And everyone's very helpful, in particular in the aviation industry, because we all started from where we started. So don't feel discouraged from getting in a lot of these quote unquote technical fields. There aren't any barriers. Most folks find out how to do the job on the job. So go through your education, build your network up, and come in with all the ideas you need, because we need you.
Thank you. And I know you said you talk to a lot of youth, you share information and provide career-related information. If people wanted to connect with you, how would they go about connecting with you? Is that an option?
Yeah, they can connect with me. You can just email me at ehuffman@nctcog. So ehuffman@nctcog.org. And I'll answer any questions. And hopefully by the time you email me, we'll have our aviation career website up and running. We already have our unmanned aviation portal up and running. You can go on there, see all the pilot programs we have going on, all the sensor data programs. We got a lot of other technical related pilots going on the drone delivery side, on the eVTOL operational side, etc.
Attention ministry leaders. Have you ever considered growing your ministry with television? Well, the Daily Gospel Network could be what you've been looking for. As one of the nation's largest Christian broadcasting companies, the Daily Gospel Network broadcasts all over the world on popular streaming platforms like Roku, Amazon Fire, and Apple TV. If you're looking to grow and reach more people, the Daily Gospel Network could be your solution.
Welcome back to Purpose Today. I'm very excited to have our next guest, Lynn Edwards. She is here to share some information about herself. And one of the things that's important on our show is to ensure that we equip our viewers with the tools necessary to operate and live in their purpose and love what they do. And so I just want to give a little bit of stats before we get into the interview with Lynn. So according to a survey conducted by Gallup in 2022, 60% of people reported being emotionally detached at work, and 19% of those people reported that they're miserable. Only 33% of the survey respondents reported that they feel engaged, and that was even lower in a survey in 2022. In the United States specifically, there are 50% of workers who reported feeling stressed at their jobs on a daily basis. And so we definitely want to overcome this. And so, Lynn, I know that you were referred by your sister, and we're excited to have you on the show. So welcome.
Thank you. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing well. Thank you. Thank you for asking. Thank you for having me on the show.
You're very welcome. And thank you for coming. So I want to just get started, with just a little bit about you, whatever you would like our viewers to know. So can you just share a little bit about yourself and what you're currently doing professionally?
Okay. So my name is Lynn Edwards. I'm currently a legal assistant with the Office of Medicare Hearings and Appeals. I'm actually currently on a detail with the Department of Appeals Board as well, doing legal assistant work. Additionally, I am a Zumba instructor, and I teach Zumba Gold and regular Zumba as well.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing some insight about yourself. We really appreciate you sharing your professional background. So what made you know that it was time for you to pivot professionally?
Well, so like I said, I'm a legal assistant. I've actually been working with the Office of Medicare, and I worked with the Office of Medicare for about 6.5 years. I was about 3 months shy of 7 years. So I'm currently a GS8 Step 4. And along those lines, if you know anything about the government, you can take a raise and grow steps yearly. However, because I'm a Step 4, I have to pretty much wait until next year to get my Step 5. But additionally, with me being a GS8, I started as a GS5. And pretty much once I got to a GS8, I was like, okay, this is the end of the ladder. It's time to move. However, that happened to be the year COVID started. So I kind of got comfortable with working from home, every day. And then when they said, oh, you have to come back, it was 2 days a week. And I was like, I like it. And about 8 months ago, I had a back surgery. So I've just gotten a little complacent. But even though I'm like, oh, they're working with me, I still need to pivot. It's time, I've done legal assistant work for almost 10, 11 years, including, time in college and working with various jobs. I mean, I think it's time to make a change. I'm not sure what that change is. That's also why I, started my Zumba career.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for sharing that. I definitely can tell that there's a stark difference between, a Zumba career as an instructor and a legal assistant. So I want us to get to unpack that. So what are your top 3 skills? If you just had to identify what your top 3 skills are, what are your top 3 skills?
I would like to say communication, like customer service, they kind of go hand in hand. That's one of my top skills. Adaptability, I usually am really interested to like get in there, get my hands dirty, figure out what, how to work things, how, how the structure works, things like that. And, my work ethic, I think when I love what I'm doing, I'm, really into it. I'm very vigorous in trying to, get to the bottom of it. Let's hit the ground running. So I think those would probably be maybe my top 3 skills at the moment.
Thank you. And I'm glad you shared that. So adaptability, your work ethic, and your communication. And all 3 of those are necessary to be a Zumba instructor. And all of those are necessary, to be a legal assistant. So I guess my question for you is if you could, have everything, as you would want it, your perfect world, what is it that you desire to do? Not specifically like a type of job or a type of business, but what would it look like? What would be the things that you would be doing? Like, what do you truly desire?
That's this, if I could do anything, if we're looking more reality, program manager, analyst, human resources, that comes to mind because I'm actually able to help people. I'm helping to place people where they need to be. Ombudsmanship, things like that, where I'm able to be like the liaison, where people come to me because I'm the expert, but I'm also able to, guide and assist with, the goal. So, it's kind of like if I could do anything, but if I'm looking at the reality, what can I do right now? Because, entrepreneurship is a lot of work, if we're being honest, so I guess that's probably basically where we're at.
So let me ask this question, because I think when it comes to pursuing purpose and doing what we love and what we desire, it's not about doing things in the realm of reality and possibility, right? We create our own possibilities. Yes. So my question for you is, what could you see yourself doing? Like, even if you didn't get paid for it, what would you be excited to get up and do every day? And it doesn't have to be a role or a type of job, but what would you be doing? What are the types of things that you would be doing? Because I want to come up with some recommendations for you to tell you what you could consider. So what does that look like for you? What could you see yourself doing every day and be happy even if you didn't get paid for it? Because if we can figure that out, then I can figure out what you can do and get paid for it and get paid very well.
I mean, I travel like it's nobody's business. I do traveling alone. I am that girl. So traveling and sharing that with others is kind of a passion of mine. Even if I wasn't getting paid, I would still let people know. Like, I mean, these areas, I like taking that path that's untraveled. You know what I'm saying? I like taking those trips where it's like, it's just me. You go to a resort and you make friends with a couple of different people. They're going on an excursion. You hop in the bus with them, that type of thing. So okay. If it could be anything, it would be traveling and sharing my travels and experiences with others and okay. Making that a tangible thing for them as well. If I can just get it to be more people traveling, I'm happy. If we can get the families included, let's do that. But I'm definitely more focused on the intentional, let's see the world, whether people come or not. You know what I'm saying? The solo traveler.
So thank you for sharing that. And I saw your face light up when you started talking about that. So I have to ask one other question just to help me to make sure that what I suggest is appropriately assessed. So are you open to opportunities both outside and inside the federal government?
So I am definitely open to opportunities outside. I will say, as you know, that GS8 step 4 is barely paying the bills at this time. So it's like, I'm managing, but I do have, 3 other jobs that we didn't discuss. And so, with that, it's kind of just like, okay, I am working with the federal government. If I could get paid more than I'm getting paid with the federal government, I'm okay and willing to leave. When I realized it about 6 months to a year after I started, that me being in the federal government, I started at 26. I took that training that talks about our retirement and realized even after 25 years, I won't be able to retire because I won't be old enough. So is it really worth it? If I leave and come back, that's still an option. You know what I'm saying? So, and I've been in the government for longer than 3 years. So I feel like I have 10 years. So if I do have to leave and come back, I mean, I'd be willing to do that, especially getting skills outside of the government and coming back with them,
That makes sense. So I just want to kind of give you some opportunities, and these are just things to consider, right?
Okay.
And I certainly want you to come back on the show so that we can hear, how things go. And I'm very happy to share. I just did a little bit of typing a few things in based on what you told me. And I'm going to give you some things both inside and outside of the government that might be a realm of possibility for you. So
Okay.
one option, and I did not even know that this existed until I just went and searched for something on USA Jobs. I started there because you're in the federal government. I have some things that I thought of as you were talking, and we'll talk about those in a little bit. But let me just start there. So there are federal government agencies that have positions called travel specialist, and you are responsible for matters related to travel. And this particular opportunity has telework eligibility. So you would have an opportunity to telework for this job. It's open to the public. So I'm sharing this position starts as a GS-9 with a target to a GS-12. And you are advising and providing recommendations to high-level officials regarding travel. So thank you, everyone. Do totally appreciate you all joining our first episode of Purpose Today. We had some wonderful guests. Lynn shared her story. She shared how she felt stuck. And after walking through just a few questions, she now has a plan, a pathway ahead that she can use to pivot professionally. And so we're going to have her back on the show. So we're going to give her time to work through making that transition to something that she loves. And I'm excited for her to come back and share her story. So thank you all again for watching. Thank you again, Ernest, for coming on and sharing your position, what you do professionally, and how you love what you do. And thank you to all of you. If you have something that you feel professionally is causing you to be stuck, and you're willing to come on the show as a future guest, or you want to write in your situation and I provide some insight and clarity on the show about how you can pivot, then certainly send us an email to admin@purposetoday.com. Again, that's admin@purposetoday.com. Thank you so much for viewing Purpose Today. Love to see you on our next episode. Make it a Purpose Day.
Thank you for tuning in to Purpose Today with Dr. April Dobson. Our mission is to ignite your spirit and fuel your passion for life. Join us next time for more inspiring stories, empowering guests, and transformative ideas that uplift and motivate. Whether you're chasing dreams, facing challenges, or just seeking a spark of positivity, we're here to inspire you. Together, we'll explore resilience, creativity, and the limitless potential within us all. So, until next time, stay inspired from your friends at Purpose Today with Dr. April Dobson.